Today we're going to talk about the philosophy of our innovative design process. Every oak frame is bespoke. What we're trying to do as a company is to take that exemplar form of manufacture and design and apply that to how we build our houses.
We can walk through each room individually and go into detail of how the oak frame works.
Having the team so closely together with us gives us a very good communication with each other of how we make all these elements join together.
Today we're going to talk about the design and manufacture of a bespoke oak-framed home. Our philosophy really is that we look at the very best products that are designed and manufactured on the market, and really what we're trying to do as a company is to take that exemplar form of manufacture and design and apply that to how we build our houses. We firmly believe at Oakwrights that we should be looking to the future, taking on board our heritage and our craftability, but using the very best technology that is out there to enable us to build the components that join our homes together to make our homes work as best as possible. So now we'll go on a tour of the workshops and we'll visit each team who bring the intelligent design to life. So now I'm sitting here with Charlotte, one of our frame designers, and what we're going to talk about now is how we proceed through the design process of a bespoke home. So what we really have are a number of components, and I really say it's a little bit like a Lego set. With a Lego set, you can build anything. You can build a Formula One racing car, or I love Land Rovers, you can build a Defender. So you're using all the components, the parts, to build up an individual bespoke vehicle. What Charlotte does is she uses all the components of an oak frame, all the posts, the beams, the rails, taking then the planning drawings that have come through, utilising all of those elements to build up into the most beautiful oak frame for your individual home. So Charlotte, how do you go about it?
So once we get the drawings from the architects, we'll put it into Dietrix, which is a 3D model software, and we'll use different posts, beams, all different timber sizes with different braces, like the Lego blocks, to start to block it all together. From there, we'll then start jointing, and then we are acting as the visual carpenter, so we do most of the joints in Dietrix on the software. What
we have behind us are the joints. You can see inside the wireframe the joints, so you have all the components are designed, and we go through checking, engineering every part of an oak frame, every part of an encapsulation system to make sure that all the individual elements fit together. If you look at, say, car manufacture, aerospace manufacture, every element is designed in depth, and they use all the little individual design components to build up a bespoke vehicle. You would not take a designed element and change it. A little bit like we know all the joints of an oak frame. You don't really want to change them from what works, and you work with those components to design each individual home.
And we can use the transparency settings on the software to check that there's no clashes with the joints that are in the timbers. So if you have a timber with, say, 4 timbers coming into the one, we call it like a tree, so you can go into the timber and make sure nothing is clashing.
So you're taking the architectural design and then making sure the oak frame works to best advantage within that architectural design. Once you've gone through your model, so what would the next stage be?
So the next stage would be inviting the client to our show home. Our team would go up and we'll run through the model in 3D. So we can get it up on the big screen and we can walk through each room individually and go into detail of how the oak frame works with that room. You get everything ironed out at that meeting usually before we move on to the next step, which would then be the client drawings.
Fantastic.
That's when it's confirmed.
Great stuff. We start with the oak frame design and then we move on to the unique part of Oakwrights. That is because we not only design the oak frame, but we also design the encapsulation system and manufacture both here at our workshops. I'm now going to have a chat to James and talk about encapsulation. So James, tell us all about encapsulations. You've got a bespoke oak frame delivered to you. You've now got to conjure up the super insulated, super energy efficient, super draft free panel system. How do you start?
So when we receive the oak frame from the frame designer, we effectively need to fully encapsulate and cover our oak frame with the chosen encapsulation system whether it be right wall or right wall natural.
So one is an insulated panel system using rock wool and sort of Kingspan, and the other system is our premium system, which is the natural, and they're both a different thickness, aren't they? So that'll dictate design.
Exactly, it's a different thickness, and obviously we need to accommodate those thicknesses around our oak frame.
What are the other parameters you have to think about on the design?
Again, the finishes of the building, they can range from just a single finish to, it could be 3 or 4 different finishes. Obviously the verge and eaves cassettes, they need to accommodate these different thicknesses of cladding, so we need to take that into account.
So that could be where you're rising from brickwork on the ground floor, going into possibly render board, could be weatherboard. What are the challenging parts?
Obviously with our wall cassettes, they're split at ground floor and first floor level. Finishes can be split at different levels, so you can have a first floor panel which has got a brickwork finish up so far, and then you've got a weatherboard or render board potentially then on upwards, so we need to consider the heights of our cladding battens to a very specific level. Obviously bringing all of these together, it needs to be very precise, but by introducing some very clear tolerance gaps in places, it allows for them to fit seamlessly on site together. There are times when we'll find small clashes. We can work hand in hand with a frame designer in order to iron out those little discrepancies.
In that instance, you will take a stroll down to Charlotte's desk and you can liaise and talk to each other, look at each other's screen.
Exactly right, communication is key, and working in the design office with the frame designers, we can have these discussions firsthand so that all these problems are ironed out.
We've also got the building regulation team working alongside you as well. So it's the beauty of the oak frame, the energy efficiency and draft-free construction of the panel system linked with all the construction details that enable us to build bespoke houses one after the other throughout the year and for many customers.
Exactly.
Every oak frame is bespoke, and that can go from either a very complicated arch brace truss or crossover truss down to a very simple structure like we have here. So what we've got is oak truss, floor beam, raised tie and a dragon post. So we have the parameters of the width of what a truss may be, but that can move in or out. And we also have the bays, and the dictation of the bays of the distance we can go apart will be the purlins that hold the roof up. So this will be the oak frame, and then our encapsulation system will run around the outside of the oak frame. Our job here is to design the oak frame, design the encapsulation, and the team here are manufacturing the oak frame. And when we go through to the panel shop, we'll see the team in the panel shop then making the panels that run around the outside of the oak frame. So I'm now in the panel manufacturing workshop here with Dan, and Dan looks after all the production.
I oversee everything that happens and try to knit it all together so everything works beautifully. With our encapsulation panels in our workshop, one of our unique points for us is we can control what we make, because we make, as you know, very bespoke, very individual product. Having the team so closely together with us gives us a very good communication with each other of how we make all these elements join together. And I also think, you know, the communication we have between the other workshops and what we produce gives us a bit more structure on what we create, and when it goes out onto site, we can put the whole thing together as a very smooth package.
So the detail on each element is reproduced.
Yep.
But the way those details are brought together, every house is almost a prototype in a way.
It is. I mean, as you'll see when you speak to the people that work here, no day is the same. We make the same style panel, but we may do something very different to every single one, which keeps everybody excited, everybody always trying to find the next step. We never do the same house twice.
When it gets to site, if it all goes up absolutely smoothly, cutting down the time on site, that is where success is.
I mean, we can manage everything as much as we can in this controlled environment, you know, where your tools are to hand, all the equipment's here, where when you're on a scaffold in the rain and you're trying to adjust things as you go along, it's not ideal. So us having control of that is brilliant.
The oak frame designers working so closely with the end cap designers, we can make this work very well together, because the communication between the two sitting so closely together in our design office and then bringing it down here, what we create is very accurate for what we need. Also, we have one of our compound roof panels. Again, all these are assembled by hand by us. You know, there is a huge element of work that goes into putting these together, being able to drop this in on site, like you say, and the existing panels to it as well, to create that roof in a very quick amount of time and very efficiently.
I'm now in the machine shop here with Richard. Richard looks after all the Hundeggers, and behind me we have our latest acquisition, which I think when I did some filming last year we were just installing, but now we're up and running with the old machine. Each week we were doing some repair work to it to make sure it was all running smoothly, and I expect now it's a different kettle of fish.
Absolutely, we're not repairing this half as much. It's very efficient, a lot speedier than the other one with the servo motors. The software is really easy to understand.
So that's a software from the frame designers who are designing the oak frame, passing that across to you. Software's better. Accuracy on this machine?
Millimetre perfect.
Is it?
Really is.
We're taking a machine that could produce dolls' houses by the thousand, but what we're using this machinery for is absolute, totally bespoke housing. So we're using all the elements, all the joints, all the details are worked through, but they're then brought together to build up individual homes. How often do you ever work on any two houses the same?
No, never.
Never. So Dusty, what do you think about the efficiency of the new machine? It's fantastic. Dusty is our workshop mascot.
About 3 years now, I think she's been here.
3 years.
3 years.
Vital member of the team, Dusty the cat. We are taking a machine designed for the standard and almost using its ability to cut very complicated joints, to use that in a bespoke manner. This machine can cut those complicated joints much more accurately, and throughout a whole house save us a lot of time in manufacturing and making a house. How often do you get to use this machine?
Once a week.
Not very often.
I'm lucky.
Everybody wants to use the new machine. It's great fun, it's very efficient, and it builds a fantastic product. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Please like, subscribe, and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you.